Hello, there's people on YouTube. Today we're going to be making a really good atlatl. Now I already started on this, but all you want to do is you take your knife or your file, if this is dried wood for you, and you just start shaving it down until you get a really nice flat about halfway through your wood. Okay, make sure it's nice and even throughout this, and you want to go the full length of your atlatl. For me is I like a little bit bigger atlatl, so I'm going to be making this too big at first, then shaving it back down, because it's a lot easier to cut wood than it is to add more wood on. Okay, as you can see, I'm not at the house right now. I'm actually at a bus stop waiting to go home. I had to go pick up a chisel. Yeah, that's one thing I didn't have, so I had to go pick one up. Why do we need a chisel? Well, we need to dig this out to make our spur. Now, what you want to do is you want to find the very middle of it and draw your style of spur. With me is I like a kind of a little bit longer spur, so I drew one of these. Alright, now I won't lie to you, this will take a while to do. As you can see, I already carved out most of this. When you get near your point that you drew out, I find that a nice digging motion, like this, works out pretty good. Just to really dig it out. Those of you who are more skilled with the chisel than I am probably have different ways of doing it. But yeah, after you get your very tip of your point done, you want to start digging inward from where you drew your lines earlier from it. So it might be a little bit hard to start, but like I said, those of you more skilled with the chisel than I am might find this a lot easier. Now you want to go about halfway down with your depth. For me, which is kind of weird because we filed this down to about halfway or sanded it. But no, about halfway in the wood, meaning about halfway in between your flat point and your round point if you're using round stick, or about halfway in between your top and your bottom with any kind of stick. For me I'm pretty fortunate. My halfway is the marrow of this stick. And this is a Scotch broom, because I like the flexibility and the strength of the Scotch broom. But yeah, I'm just going to carve this down to about halfway, which, if I remember right, is about right here. Then I'm going to start carving up this tip. Now the reason why we get this nice trough is it's a way for the arrow, dart, or whatever you want to call it, is resting. And it just makes it a little bit easier to hold on to. If you've seen my other video of my other atlatl that I made, it doesn't have a trough, it's just all round with a little point right here. This is just a matter of preference and the different types of atlatls. Some atlatls actually have a counterweight here, so you get a little bit more force and a little bit more balancing when you start to throw it. Okay, now we're at this part. We've almost finished doing this. Now we're digging out this. Now this is what I like to call your shelf, maybe called something else. What you want to do here is just start digging down, just so this sits higher than your trough, and you know where your atlatl, arrow, dart, or whatever you want to call it kind of sits. I'm just doing the same digging motion. I start pressing vertical, and I gently scoop down, just so the chisel really digs in there. Just because if I keep working from this way, it'll dig up this, and then I won't have a rest anymore. So I'm digging from this way. Now, the tip is really hard to start. Like I said, I just go downward digging motion, and just, lightly kind of pull it out. Being very careful not to screw up this nice shape that I've been digging out for a while. And when you get to this point, about right here, I'm going to start digging down a little bit. Then start moving toward it very slightly and making sure not to push up a lot. So you start digging under this. Yeah, under this. So we actually get our points, or our arrow nock, which is just a little hole, actually sit under. Now I'm more accustomed using a knife than a chisel, so I'm glad that these two can work together pretty well. All I'm doing is draw cutting, or that's probably not it, just kind of scooping up here, and cutting the layer of wood underneath it, so I can actually get the point out. Now the way that I figured out that helps, hopefully I'm in frame this time, you take this, start here and you just kind of curve with it, and you can really get underneath that tip. And here it is. All done. Well, still sanding and everything. When you're done, you can hold this and you take your chisel. Remember, this is a 3/8 chisel, right? No, 1/4 chisel. And you can run your chisel all the way through here. It feels nice and level. There's still lots of stuff that's going to be done in sanding. But yeah, make sure you try to get this tip nice and sharp. I don't recommend using a chisel for it, because this is not very strong right here. So just take your time with the sandpaper to get it nice and pointy.